Hello, welcome to Advent 2. So during the season of Advent, I'm using the Advent wreath as a guide through the season. So with the 4 candles that we have, week 2 is a purple candle again. And last week was to do with the patriarchs and we talked about Abraham. This week is dedicated to the prophets. So I was thinking, well, how do I link that in to Christmas and looking forward to the birth of Jesus and, thinking about what to make. And I was thinking that we live in a time when there's not a lot of hope, and actually in the Bible there are prophets who actually foretold the birth of Jesus, which would have given the people hope. 2 such of these would be Isaiah and Micah, both Old Testament prophets in the Bible. So we've got both of their books in the Bible, and they both foretell in a really interesting way the possibility of the birth of Christ. So Isaiah was a Hebrew prophet. His book in the Bible was written 730 BC. That's quite a long time before Jesus was born. And it was interesting. One of the bits in Isaiah is from Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and will give birth to a son, and he will be called, will be called Emmanuel. Now Emmanuel means God with us. So basically what Isaiah is saying is that a virgin's going to conceive, give birth to a son who is going to be God with us. That's 730 years before Jesus. So that's a pretty interesting prophecy. And that obviously links in with the accounts of Mary giving birth. Also we've got Micah, who prophesied that the ruler over Israel, which Jesus is through the history line, as we talked about the patriarchs last week, he's in the line down from Abraham, so he's Jewish by nature, and he was going to be born in Bethlehem. So Micah says in chapter 5 verse 2, that the ruler over Israel will come from Bethlehem. So I was thinking, okay, so we've got these 2 prophecies, that's great. How do I link it into food? Well, Bethlehem actually translates as house of bread. So I thought today it would be great to make maybe a Jewish version of bread. Now, forgive me, Jewish friends, if I pronounce this incorrectly, but I'm going to make a challah bread, which is spelt Challh, which would traditionally be eaten in the Jewish community on a Friday night to celebrate the Sabbath. So I'm going to go through the ingredients and then you can watch along with me. So in here I have got 500 grams of strong white bread flour. I'm also going to need some for dusting, which I will use later on. I've also got 70 grams of caster sugar, so that's quite a fine sugar. It's not icing sugar, but it's not the big granulated version, so 70 grams of caster sugar. Obviously in order to make any bread rise, you need yeast. I've got 7 grams of dried fast-acting yeast in here. A couple of eggs, 2 eggs beaten, ready to go. And I've got 70 mils of sunflower oil, and I'm going to be using some of that to oil the bowl once we put the bread in, the dough in later, ready for it to rise so that it doesn't stick to the bowl. I'm also going to need a little bit of salt. And to decorate, and this is completely optional, I'm probably going to put some sesame seeds on. Obviously people have different allergies, so you do your own, but the recipe recommended, and I've used BBC Good Food, the recipe recommended either sesame seeds or poppy seeds, or if you fancy it, no seeds at all. So what I'm going to be doing is putting the yeast and the pinch of the sugar, some lukewarm water in a bowl. Going to let that froth up for 10 minutes, let the yeast get all active. Then I'm going to have my flour in the big bowl. I'm going to be adding in, making a well, adding in the salt, the sugar, half of this egg mix, my yeast mix, bit of water, stir it into a dough, give it a good knead. Yeah, lovely. Like I said last week with the flatbreads, get some tension out. This one you can do a bit more on. You know, you don't need to go mad with the flatbreads, but this one you can give it a bit more oomph. And then you're gonna knead that for about 10 minutes. Oil another bowl, so I've got a separate bowl here, which I'm gonna oil round, and then I'm gonna pop the dough into it. And that's gonna go and live in a warm place. So the recommended time is about an hour, or until the dough has actually doubled in its size. So we're going to try and double that in size, because what I want to do after that is I'm going to take it out, make that dough into 3 pieces, and we're going to actually kind of plait them together into a nice plait, and then you can brush with the egg, pop your sesame seeds on, or your poppy seeds if you're going to, and that goes into an oven which has been preheated. Gas mark 6 in the UK, 200 degrees C or 180 degrees if you've got a fan oven. Obviously keep an eye on it as it rises, as it's getting nice and brown. You want to just make sure you don't overcook it. Middle shelf of the oven, give it a knock on the bottom. Should be firm, but it should make a nice hollow noise. So that lovely hollow noise you get when you give it a knock on the bottom. Then you're ready to serve it. So I'm going to link the recipe to Good Food in the comments. But I mean, again, as always, I haven't tried this before, so learn along with me and we'll see how it goes. Welcome to the House of Bread. Welcome to Advent 2. Welcome to Advent 2.